Yeah. Yeah. I know we were talking about Jimmy Graham too, and his play or lack thereof. He's in the last year of his contract, and I know he is playing for that contract. So I don't know. I think we should just stick to what we have now. We shouldn't re-sign him. We're not gonna need to re-sign him. I think we're gonna have to build our tight ends through the draft, because Luke Wilson I don't think is the answer either. A couple people that we could be looking at in the draft is Marvin Sanders from Florida State. He only saw 14 targets last season, but he's going to see more this year and get a chance to prove that he's got more than 14 targets. And then there's this one guy from a non-Power 5 school, UMass. He's 6'5", 255. I got to watch him a little bit this season against Penn State, and he moves pretty well. He catches the ball. He's a big target, and he could block pretty well too. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the tight end position for the Seahawks, Seth?
Well, I like Jimmy Graham as a player, but if they're not going to utilize him to his full talent, then I certainly don't think it's worth keeping him at whatever it is they're paying him right now.
He's more of like a wide receiver, and the Seahawks are just too stubborn to see themselves see him as a wide receiver, which is what they needed to try and convert him to.
I got to interrupt you guys real quick because we have Sosa from off campus. He's calling in right now. He wants to give his thoughts on the Jimmy Graham situation. Let us know what you think.
I'm happy to be here. I'm from WSU, and 0 fantasy points for Jimmy Graham's a little concerning for everyone. I don't know how we don't get him involved in our offense. I don't know what Pete Carroll's doing. I don't think Russell Wilson's been that great. How about we give the ball to the best tight end in the league?
So
I don't know what's going on.
So the angle you're going to take on this is that it's more of a philosophical problem with what the Seahawks are choosing to do with him. They're not tailoring any offense towards his way. They're trying to make him fit a system, and with an athlete that is as good as Jimmy Graham, it's obviously not working. So
I agree. They need to build the system around Jimmy Graham. This guy's been the number one tight end because Gronk was getting hurt, obviously, but still, he's still great. And he needs 9 or 10 targets a game. This guy's getting 3 or 4. That's no good. And the 2 targets he got in week 1 were screen pass, little shovel receiver to running backs.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
I couldn't agree with you more. So, by the way, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Where's DJ?
This DJ right there.
this is me,
DJ,
buddy.
Great to talk. I saw that you had a radio show, and I was pumped.
Hey, I couldn't agree with you more. He's 6'7", 270 pounds. That's a physical specimen. And if we're just gonna throw screen passes to him and stuff like that,
So we gotta let you go, man. We thank you so much for listening. Call back sometime. Maybe clean up the vocab a little bit. Oh man, it gets out of hand when DJ's friends call in.
As you can see, our callers are very passionate about the Seahawks.
Hey, we're sorry about that, folks. Thank you for listening. But yeah, it's a problem right now with Jimmy Graham. The Seattle Seahawks can't figure out how to use him, or they're just choosing not to use him correctly. Seth, you got some more thoughts on Jimmy Graham?
Well, he's got to be able to block if he's going to be a part of our offense moving forward, which right now he's really only being utilized as a receiver, like you said, DJ. And I just don't think that they can continue to commit that much of the offense and that much of our cap space to a guy that we're only using for a fragment of what we should be using him for.
But does he need to block? If he's not does he need to? Why don't they use him differently? Why don't they split him out wide like the Saints did, and where he was so incredibly effective? Does he need to block?
No, he doesn't. This is the problem where all the football traditionalists see a tight end, and I've said this once, and I'll say it again. Tight ends are forgotten in this game. We are big people who can be big targets, and a lot of the time, people just see us as slow-moving people.
This is getting personal with DJ. Keep going, DJ. This is getting personal.
Slow-moving people who, not the fleetest of foot or the greatest of hands, but gosh darn it, we are big targets. We can catch the ball, throw fades to us. like I said, Jimmy Graham, 6'7", 270. In the red zone, use him. Doug Baldwin, no, nothing against him. He's only 5'11", but if you look at 5'11" versus 6'7", 6'7" is going to be the better target. And a lot of, linebackers and DBs are only like 6'1", 6'2". So that is a mismatch problem, and we don't do enough, and that falls all on I think it falls on Pete Carroll. I think it falls on Darrell Bevell. It's just been a misfortune to see what Jimmy Graham has gone through here in Seattle, and I feel his pain.
Yeah. Seth, do you have anything to add on that? Or
Well, I still think he should be at least an average blocker, because if he can't block, then as soon as he checks into the game, you know what's coming. It's a pass to Jimmy Graham, or it's a pass play to somebody, and teams are going to sit on that. They're going to audible out of whatever it is they're in into a coverage on Jimmy Graham if he can't block. And if it is a run play and he's missing his block, then our run offense is going to suffer.
that's actually a very
he
fair
even-
point, though.
when-
That's a good point.
Yes, when he was trying to re-sign with the Saints, he even tried to switch his position to wide receiver. So if the Saints were to place a franchise tag on him, because that's realistically that's what they were using him for, he would make more money. So I don't know. Like I said, misfortune.
It's a tough deal, man.
The
What
one
did they
bright
do?
spot though is the defense. Only giving up 9 points, and really, I say you only gave up 10 to Green Bay because we fumbled on our own 4-yard line. Pro Football Focus has the Seahawks front seven ranked number 2 behind the Texans, and then their secondary is ranked third in the whole NFL. So I mean, you are doing something right on the defensive end, and like you always say, defense wins championships. The one thing I do think that could happen is the defense could carry us deep into the playoffs, like the 2000 Ravens did.
Like the 2014 Seahawks did. I mean,
yeah, we had enough offense though to go along with that. I mean, we got to remember the Seahawks. We've always been kind of slow starting on the offensive end, and then we pick it up towards the end of the year. So I mean, we shouldn't throw away the cards now.
that's fair.
So I mean, time will tell. If we're having the same problems towards week 14, something needs to change. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.